Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are coming to you with a review episode.
What? We still do those?
Yeah.
When was our last review?
Our last review was Pipeline.
That was a ways ago.
That was pre-Gen Con.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like right before new studio times. So,
first review in the new studio.
first review in the new studio.
Yeah. And then we'll have like two more really fast here.
Yes, we're going to be slamming out some reviews that we've
It's the end of year review time.
been a little bit behind on. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. We got to get these last second reviews in so that we can fairly evaluate everything for our top, list of 2019.
Of
going
all
into
those games we
2020.
didn't play.
Yeah.
Correct. So let's go ahead and get this started. Tonight we're going to be reviewing War of the Worlds: A New Dawn.
The new wave.
The New Wave. I always say A New Dawn, and I don't know why.
And I always say next wave.
Yeah, The New Wave.
Yes.
From Gray Fox Games, which double version of full disclosure here. Gray Fox, the publisher of this game, is our sponsor, and they did send us this as a review copy.
But
so
I also bought a copy.
Yeah.
Jeff backed the Kickstarter and got the deluxe edition, the playmat, the minis,
Yes.
the whole shebang.
The all-in edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have spent money on this.
So there is, we are financially involved as well.
Yes.
But they don't sponsor our review episodes if you don't remember.
Correct.
So,
They only sponsor the Wednesday banter, bullshit, news, Kickstarter
yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So with all of that out of the way, let's dive right into this thing and see if we remember how to do one of these. Zach, I believe you start us off with a rules overview.
Yes, I do. In War of the Worlds, you are aliens/humans trying to conquer/protect the world. On your turn, you can play cards for money and to move units and construct buildings. Certain cards will let you cull them for a more powerful one-time use. As aliens, you can destroy human civilians, units, and buildings. And as humans, you can deal damage to alien units and buildings, but you can't destroy them. If the aliens kill all the human civilians, they win. But if the humans can deal 30 damage before that happens, then they win.
Nice and simple. Straightforward, some would say. Well, the next thing that we like to do on these review episodes is talk a little bit about our initial thoughts going into the game. So, Zach, how about you start us off? What were your initial thoughts going into War of the Worlds?
Well, I know when we initially heard it, Jeff was super excited. Not to spoil what his initial impressions are, but the fact that it was a deck builder and asymmetric and two-player area control style-ish game that I was like, okay, this sounds like it could be cool. I thought it was an interesting enough theme that, the aliens of War of the Worlds, they decide to come back, but it's World War I, so the humans have, quote unquote, a little bit more of a fighting chance. And so just seeing how those would go together seemed like an interesting idea. So I was looking forward to trying it out.
Right on. For myself, I was in a similar area. I was interested in it. I'm always kind of interested in, a good two-player game. War of the Worlds I thought it was a cool theme. I really like H.G. Wells stuff, and War of the Worlds is one of those cool, stories, about how they played it on the radio. People were like, holy shit, we're actually being attacked by aliens.
I think that is false.
I know. But it's a fun story is the point.
Yeah.
That it has behind
And a good
it.
radio drama when they
Yes.
did it. So
I was interested. Two-player, deck builder, asymmetric. Those are all things I like. Area control didn't super interest me, but looking over the Kickstarter when we covered it at the time, it wasn't the kind of dudes on a map area control that I tend to dislike. It seemed more like a push and pull influenced type of area control.
it almost seems like one of the characters was actively trying to get rid of dudes on a map. It's like, fuck this dude, fuck this dude, fuck this dude.
Yes, but I don't know. It seemed different, so I was interested. I was a little bit interested. What about you, Jeff?
It checked all the boxes that I want. It was a deck builder. It had some dudes on a map. It had a cool, War of the Worlds theme, aliens versus humans. So I was pretty excited about trying out this game that had a lot of mechanics that I usually enjoy very much.
Right on. So let's talk about components. And let's do this in two parts because we actually, in this case, have the ability to really look at them separately, the Kickstarter Fancy Edition and the base retail version. So we'll start with the base retail version because this is the version people are going to be able to get.
Yes.
So if you go to the store and you pick this up, this is what you're going to get. And they both have some things in common. They both come with all the player boards.
There's no player board.
Just the map,
I'm
just
sorry,
the
the game board.
The game
Yes.
board, yes.
Which the main board is the UK minus North Ireland. It's just the main board is just the
There's a name
England?
for no, because England is just England.
Britain.
Great Britain. Yes.
Yes.
England, Scotland, and Wales.
is Great Britain,
Yeah.
yes, which
Yes.
is part of the UK.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just what we need to do is we just always need to have that thing that somebody made online. Just
Andrew.
Was it Andrew
I
that
think
made
it was
that
Andrew
one?
sent that to us.
Well,
yeah.
he made the Nordic
Yeah.
country one.
We just
Oh,
need to
that's
have
right.
those just printed out so we
Right.
always know.
But so it's just Great Britain.
Mhm.
Then there is the expansion board, which is included in the base game, right?
No.
No, that's an expansion.
Just part
It's
of
an
the,
expansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if it was one of those like
Yeah.
expansions that's in.
No,
the
that was
game.
like the Irish Sea or something.
the- Yes, the
Okay.
Irish Sea. In the Kickstarter
Okay.
edition, it came with.
Okay.
Yes. So you didn't have to
Um,
buy that separate.
Okay. So we'll cycle back around to
Yes.
that here in a second. So yeah, just Great Britain. It's a bunch of cardboard tokens for all of your main pieces.
And then
For your buildings.
For the building.
Yeah.
Like
for
the buildings and then your figures.
your abilities
Yeah.
and things like that, and your figures.
The civilians are
Are little wooden
Cubes.
cubes.
Yep.
Yeah. And standees for your figures. They're
Yes.
cardboard
Yeah.
standees, but
Yeah.
standees for your figures.
Yeah. So that's
Army
gonna be
units,
That's gonna be your tripods for the tripods and UFOs for the aliens, and then
tanks, and battleships
Yes.
for the humans.
correct.
And then there are
a
deck
whole
of cards.
plethora of tokens for either side's special abilities and
Yep.
things like that.
And then the decks,
Yes.
which are completely
Unique.
asymmetric,
Yep.
unique decks for the
Yes.
aliens and the humans. They use very similar iconography, but even the iconography is subtly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the red orange for humans and sort of the blue purple for the aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then like the aliens building card is like 4 hexes,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the humans one is like 4 bricks.
Yeah.
Like they're little rectangles
Yeah.
like bricks. So
Yeah.
they're slightly different in that regard. But that's basically everything that comes in the base set is the little wooden pieces, the standees, the cardboard tokens, the cards, and the Great Britain board.
Yeah.
And a very empty box.
And a very empty.
very empty box. Overall, I was initially very disappointed, I have to say, overall, with most of the components. The board's okay, didn't really warp bad. It's got a good layout. The art style,
Yeah.
like, especially here in the studio with the
Mhm.
bright lights on it, it kind of washes out parts of the board.
Especially up where it has like snow,
Yeah.
because the lines
which is
to-
all of Scotland.
Yes.
It's always snowy.
It's always snowy.
like
Clearly.
like
the-
the Starks in the north.
Yeah, the lines to demark the different sections is like a yellowish white line.
Eggshell.
Eggshell, yeah, that sounds good. That definitely gets muddied when you go up north.
Yes.
But like if you're in the sea or you're down south, then it's easier to see.
But fun fact, most of the human stuff is going to be dead up there soon anyways, and no one's going to be up there.
Yes.
Yeah, no one's going to really care.
Yeah.
But aside from the board, the rest of the components were fairly lackluster. The wooden cubes I'm fine with. The standees were okay. And the
I
tokens
like
were
the
fine.
standees.
The cards especially. Though. The cards felt thin.
I
and-
would say the quality of the cards, but I think like the artwork on them, I think that was good.
Yeah, art and
Yeah.
graphic design is good, but the physical,
The cards were a
Components
little bigger
themselves.
than I was expecting,
they're apparently not standard sized.
No.
but they
So,
definitely
good luck
felt a little
sleeving.
thin. Yeah.
Yeah, they feel a little thin, and after you get some multiple playthroughs in them, you can.
Feel them starting to.
Yeah, thankfully you don't really. I mean, it's a deck builder, but it's not the kind of deck builder where you're going to be shuffling because your deck already has all of your cards in there. So it's really just you shuffle it once at the beginning of the game, and that's it.
Well, your hand you shuffle a decent amount though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you start with only 10 cards. We'll get,
Yeah.
we'll get
Yes.
to that more.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not like shuffling a big deck constantly.
No.
Yeah.
But
I think the icons on the cards itself too. I think those were fine. I feel like they were fairly easy to understand what they were
Yeah.
talking about.
Because it was just what defense and attack,
Yeah.
and then like
And then
money
money.
generation.
And
Yeah.
if you got rid of a card, it was like, hey, X on the card. So it's
Yep.
like, get rid of
Right.
that, or, you know.
and then there were like the two main ones, the arrow, meaning
Mhm.
like it's a play card that you keep in your deck
Yep.
and you play and discard, or it's the building symbol. That means you build the building when you buy the card and then the card goes
Yep.
away.
Or the unit card. So
Oh
Which-
yeah, they
yeah.
had a slightly
Yes.
different symbol.
Which is how you spawn units
Mhm.
or
Moved-
activate
yeah.
them.
yeah,
But yeah, so I was initially a little bit down on it, but then, and we'll like kind of jumping ahead here a little bit. I realized that it's only like it's pretty cheap for just the base.
I think I saw $26, $27.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
which-
MSRP
which
is like 30 or what?
massively
yeah.
redeemed it because it
Yeah,
it looks like it's a big box, and then you open it up, it's an empty box, and the components don't seem that good. It's like,
We'll get to that in part B.
but we'll get to
Yeah.
that. Then, so we got that one. You guys played with that at a game night, and then a little bit later, Jeff got his Kickstarter
Kickstarter,
edition, which the main difference is there is it still comes with all of that stuff, standees and tokens,
Yeah.
but it also adds in little wooden shaped meeples for the civilians, so they're
Yep.
shaped like little World
Little
War One
dudes,
soldier
yep.
guys, and then minis for the tanks and the battleships
Yep.
and the tripods and the UFO. And those are actually really good.
I think those are good, but I feel like you could use those or the standees, and it's like, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
because the standees have some good art with
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
Yeah.
But so for me, the only thing that the Kickstarter really had that I was like, okay, this works a lot better is
Major quality of life.
the buildings.
yeah,
There's a plastic like thing that you insert the cardboard token onto,
like a plastic base.
like a plastic base, and so it stands up above, so it's a lot easier to see your buildings you have there, especially if it's cluttered with other things.
yeah, plus
the
it makes
only-
them feel like a building.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
only differentiation before is like the ability tokens were round and the buildings were square.
Yes.
So now the buildings have a big 3D model under
Exactly.
They're like a big cube.
Yep.
So,
And it feels more impressive. They're like, I built this building depot, and then the alien player's like, okay, well, I will destroy it. Now I get to remove that building depot. And you're just
Yes.
like, God damn it.
And then the Irish Sea expansion, which also comes with the Kickstarter edition.
Yes.
Yep.
But does not come with the upgrade pack now. They're like two separate purchases from Gray Fox.
Okay.
You can get all the Kickstarter stuff for $20.
okay,
And well, all the upgraded meeples and minis for $20. And then I think the expansion is 15
Gotcha.
bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
That adds the little sideboard with
Yeah, it's a small
Ireland,
little
yeah.
sideboard with Ireland on it.
Yep.
And Ireland adds some unique twists.
That has some printed on bonuses for humans,
Yep.
but you need civilians there to use them, and you don't start with any there.
Yeah.
and then you also get more cards with the expansion and a little bit more tokens too, but
And
we
I,
can get
yes, we'll get there about
yes.
the expansion
yes.
cards.
yes, we will. But
But yeah, I think that's basically a good overview for.
yeah, it was definitely one of those things where like it felt it was lackluster, but then realizing the price of the game, you're like, okay, now that makes more sense.
Yeah. Just
So,
under $30.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, moving on from components, let's talk a little bit about the rules themselves. So, you two played it first. You played it game night. Jeff, you'd looked over the rules and everything
And watched a video.
and watched a video.
from,
Okay.
from Alex from Gray Fox.
Right on.
May he
Formerly
rest-
from Gray
Former.
Fox.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Alex from Dukes of Dice might be a
Yes.
better reference
There
for
you
him
go.
now. So then you taught Zach at game night. So how'd that teach go? Was there anything that was difficult for you to learn from the rules or video? Was there anything that was hard to teach? And Zach, kind of same thing, you chime in. Is there anything that was difficult for you to pick up?
There's only two things that come to mind. The first one being that you can cull a card from your trench every turn. You can just put it right on the bottom of your deck every turn at some point in your turn. So if you have like a bad selection of 5 cards, just get rid of one of those cards, put it on the bottom of the deck, get a new card. And then how unit cards work, specifically the ones that make spawning happen. You can't use the same unit card on the same unit twice in a turn.
And so that means is like there's a card that says tripod. You can't use that one, but the action card reap you can use if you have 5 reaps in your hand. You can that tripod can move all over town if you wanted to.
Because there are unit cards, action cards, and building cards.
Yes.
Action cards is reap, which you can just go whole hog on the same unit, move him across the whole fucking board all you want.
Yeah,
But a unit card can only just be used once.
but they're usually more powerful. And also, if you don't have that unit on the board, if you're a human, then that's how you get those spawned back on.
yes.
But
Correct.
then instead of when you play it and you don't have it and you spawn it, that's you playing the card. You can't spawn it and then do the ability.
Right.
So I do sort of wish it said that on the card a little bit because
Yeah.
That it was like one of the ors,
Yeah.
like respawn if dead,
yeah,
or something. But And it
I mean, I
gets-
can understand why it's not on there, but especially like if you have two of them out.
Because it gets
And then-
confusing
yeah.
too about like, you have to just keep in mind like, oh, I've got 2 of these in my deck, so I can have 2 troops at a time.
Yeah.
So I'm down to 1. Oh, I can use this to spawn.
Or do I want to use it to move the other
Yeah.
one? It's
And then the aliens will spawn on the UFO, but the humans can spawn their army units wherever there's a civilian, or the battleships will go into a specific spot on the south side of the board.
yes.
Correct.
I think that was about it for rules thing. Also, like how movement works. You're just moving between like land spaces, but the UFO is slightly confusing because everyone's units cards say move to an adjacent land space. The UFO says move to an adjacent space, but that includes water. Battleships say move to an adjacent water space.
Yeah.
So UFOs can move to both, but it does not specify specifically land and or sea space.
Yeah, that was one of the things that when we were playing it, I was
like,
the aliens, and I was just like, why can't 'cause I was like, so this can I move my UFO into a sea space? And just like,
And
no.
I was like,
And
but then it's like, and then you can just get to the south and destroy me with a UFO super
Yeah.
easily. Fun fact, that's just the rules.
That's just the rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, because you're playing it and I was just like, well, this seems stupid that a UFO just can't go into the sea for whatever reason.
I mean, I had a perfectly valid explanation.
Yes. And I mean, you had your own little explanation.
So it uses hover tech, right? That pushes against the ground to go off. So the ground's firm, it stays in place. So it can stay a set height above the ground. But the UFO is also fucking heavy. So when it gets out over the water just spreads apart and it sinks down in like a little bubble of air beneath the UFO. It doesn't lift off.
Fun fact, no, they just fly.
Yeah, they just fly.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, other than that, it's fairly easy. I mean, we can get to this in gameplay, but
It's fairly simple to play.
it's fairly simple to play the aliens. It is simple to play the humans, but the strategy is a lot different.
Yes,
So like a
they
simple-
are very different play styles.
Yes.
Indeed. I learned it later. You can actually watch me learn it on our YouTube channel. The very first stream we did of War of the Worlds is up on YouTube, so you can go over to our YouTube channel and you can see Zach as the aliens teach me to play the humans,
And then proceed to wipe.
and then proceed.
No,
that was
That's the only close one.
that was the only time I've ever felt close. I got a really good
Yeah.
set of cards.
Yeah.
But I same thing. I'd heard enough from you guys about the couple of little like
Mhm.
tweaks learning. I think that one we still played where you couldn't use your UFO over water. I don't think we'd started playing that correctly at that point. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then I did remember I don't do it very often because just the way my deck worked, I
Yeah.
didn't want to. As the human, sometimes you don't really want to, even though you maybe should more often. I don't know. But I didn't do it a lot. But I did remember the rule of
The only
using
other
burn one.
like tiny snafu things I've seen were just like when you buy a building card, you forget to discard, like get rid of it, and
put it
sometimes
in your deck.
You put it in
I've
your deck.
done that a lot.
But then you just look at it and you're like, oh, this should be gone. Toss, grab a new card. It doesn't mess up anything at all, but it's always funny just to be like, oh, I forgot to get rid of that. So.
Right on. So yeah, that lets us move over to gameplay.
So the IRC. No.
So it's an asymmetrical game, so it plays a little different from each side. So like we kind of alluded to in the rules.
You have your own different deck. There's
Yeah.
not like a common deck in between you, like
Yeah.
Star Realms or anything like that.
completely unique decks.
But it's still like money is still money, right? And then damage is still damage.
yeah, you're
So,
doing the
yeah.
same things. It's just how and why
Mhm.
are very different.
Yes.
And the
Very
effects,
different.
and the
Yeah.
effects of what you do. Like you both do damage, but what that damage actually does is very different.
Yeah.
So let's start here, as we alluded to in the rules explanation. Aliens are really straightforward.
Yes.
So as the aliens, you are trying to do basically 2 things. You're trying to build a small base of money generation with your buildings that are indestructible for all intents and purposes.
Yep.
And then you're trying to send your tripods and UFOs in a steady march southward, wiping out the humans as you go.
Which are also indestructible.
The
Tri-
tripods.
the tripods and
yes.
UFOs.
It's like wiping out the humans, which are also indestructible.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
You didn't know that the civilians can't be killed?
That changes things. They're
So-
very squishy.
So everything on the alien side is invulnerable
2 humans, yep.
to humans, and then everything on the human side is easily destructible
Yes.
super easily.
Everything has 1 health.
Except for like 1 card.
There's 2 bunkers
Yeah.
and a fort
Yeah,
that
so
have 2 health and 4.
Yep.
And you can build the like tank factory that makes your tanks have
Yes.
2 armor, but they're normally just the 1.
Yes. And then the tank factory can also be easily destroyed.
Yes. And it turns out the aliens can fairly consistently do 3 to 4 damage a turn. So they
Yeah.
can be like, oh, this space has 2 buildings, a tank, and a civilian. Well, guess
They're
what?
all dead.
Yeah.
They're all dead now.
Well, and so I guess something we should talk about then too is that you can't just kill civilians willy-nilly. You have to
Yes.
kill buildings first.
There
and
is an
then-
order of
and
operations.
then units, and then civilians.
Yes.
So that's where like one of the biggest or one of the most common cards for the aliens is Reap, and that one is kill an unprotected civilian or move or get rid of it for 2 money. And so if there are just civilians hanging around, then you can just reap.
Right.
But as soon as you get like an army there or a building, then they have to get the tripod card, which does damage, or get any of their have them buy any of the attack cards that let them do damage.
Oh, yeah.
Should also mention the aliens are very mobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have all
move
these
a
buildings
lot.
and they are very mobile. I guess their small disadvantage is they can only build on top of where they have a unit.
No, they can only build adjacent to
to where they have a unit.
No, where
But
they
where
have a building.
To where they have a building.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they start with a single
The
building
UFO.
that's the
Yeah.
UFO.
Yes.
They're like home ship because
Yeah.
the UFO is separate and flies around.
Yes. Your home base ship or whatever you wanna
Invasion
call it.
ship.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you slowly spread out from there
Yeah.
as you wipe the humans out of Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland starts with a bunch of people, but
Yeah.
then is immediately
you-
rendered
And
you
to
barren.
be fair, you can't build any buildings while there are people there, so you just got to kill them first,
Yeah.
and then
It's
you can
not
start.
hard.
Not hard at all.
The board comes with pre-placed spots where the civilians are supposed to go
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, like pre-marked.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the aliens start with like 9 or 12 right next to where they start.
Yeah.
And the humans start with what is it? 6 and 4
Oh, of the cards.
of like the gorilla and the
Something like that.
like of not evacuation order. It's just like relocation.
Yeah.
They move. Like,
But the humans move card is also their money card.
yes.
So you're either moving a civilian once or you're getting money to buy another card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's upgraded versions of both of those cards, basically. Like the gorillas, I guess the upgrade is technically the army unit. And then there's the evacuation order that gives you like faster movement or more money.
I think the evacuation order is still because it's not faster move because it's
well, you can move 2.
You can move 2 people one space.
Yes. Or spend 2 money.
Yes.
Mhm.
But yeah, so the humans is a little bit more nuanced, I
Yeah.
guess, gameplay because
Yeah.
you're trying to flee the aliens while also
very,
fighting the
very
aliens
slowly.
Yeah.
while also like
Trying to spend money to build some economy buildings.
it's-
Because
yeah.
you get supply depots. They're buildings that you want to put kind of in the back away from where the aliens start.
yeah.
But there's no civilians that start on the south of England.
Yeah.
So you actually have to spend like
Yeah. So
2 or 3 movement to even build.
no civilians start in London.
Yeah.
I just want to
The
get
entire
that out of the
region
way.
with London has no civilians. Meanwhile, Scotland has like
It's just chock
nearly
full.
a third of your people.
Yeah. But I mean, I can understand it. An alien landed, so everyone's like, "Ooh, what's going on over here?"
I mean,
An alien that had previously wrecked your country lands, and everybody's like,
that
"Oh,
was
takes place-
that was a generation ago, sir.
it was 20 years.
yeah,
Because I think the original War of the Worlds is like 1897. So
Yeah.
20 years later, post World War I would be 1917, which this probably takes place around. Maybe the aliens the first time wiped out the south of England, then we fought them back, and now they're at the top north of England
Yeah,
where
they-
everyone
they-
else is.
That's the most logical explanation I've heard yet.
sure, yeah, that works.
They wrecked London,
And
so London
Ireland.
is
No one's
is
in
a
Ireland.
ruin.
no one's in, yeah.
Ireland was abandoned during World War One. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Alternate history stuff. Who knows? But yeah, it really feels like the aliens are doing like, 2 things. So it's like you've got 2 balls and you just have to keep throwing them in the air and then catching them.
Yes.
And that's very easy to do.
And that's once again just killing humans, building your thing, and making sure humans don't slip behind you. So just always killing humans is your goal,
yeah.
and then slowly expanding your influence. Otherwise,
Yeah. Whereas humans
And you
are
have
like
30 you have
actually
30
trying to juggle.
You have 30 humans.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
30 versus 30, basically.
Yeah. So when you're doing damage as an alien, you're actually killing pieces on the board, and there's 30 of those pieces. So you got to chase them down and kill them.
Yeah.
As the humans, you're just shooting bullets that bounce off of the things and do no discernible damage, but they move a little track on the side of the board.
But it's not even you're shooting the aliens. The aliens are moving and attacking you, where the humans are just standing there or moving and not attacking, and then dying.
Yeah.
And then dying. And so you never, as the humans, you never really, certainly not in the base game. We can get to the expansion here a little bit, but in the base game, you never do anything that feels like you're stopping the aliens.
No.
It's just
Even if you're using your big stuff, it's just like, oh, you've got that 2 cards that lets you kill everything in the whole space that you were in.
Yeah.
You have some landmines that will just do some automatic damage when they walk over it.
Yeah, so it does damage, but it's like you never they're invulnerable. So no matter how much damage you do, you can't kill them.
It's just free
It just
damage.
moves a track.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you never, and it's one of those things that kind of feels very abstracted too, especially when if you win as the humans. I've still never seen the humans win personally.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. I've never seen the humans win.
I haven't either.
But
Shocker, I haven't either.
Yeah.
okay. But
I mean, I did see someone say like the first time, so like they watched some people play the humans.
yeah, I saw somebody online saying that the humans won their first game.
Does that mean that they were really bad alien players?
I don't. I have so many questions. What were they playing wrong?
Yeah.
Was the UFO only allowed to go in water?
Yeah.
But
did they let the aliens? Were they not invulnerable in that one?
maybe. But I could imagine that if the humans won, it'd be one of those things where you're
It's
fighting,
always
and it's like you're going to be close if the humans win.
Yeah.
And then you finally hit that magical 30, and the aliens, despite you never doing anything that feels like damage, them just being like,
Not worth it.
I guess you win.
Yeah. Fly
Just
away.
gonna go home.
Yeah.
You've scuffed their paint so much that they're like, now we're out.
They're very superficial that way.
Because at most, the aliens get 3 tripods and 2
UFOs.
But then at most, the humans get 3 tanks and 2 battleships.
Yes.
Which you don't even start with battleships,
or
despite
tanks.
the fact it's the end of World War One. Those things should have all been
Well,
built.
I don't remember the exact time this is supposed to be happening, but
But
I'm
either
sure
way.
there's going to be battleships.
No, I mean, that
You don't
is
start
something
with
you
any
definitely need to
armies
talk
either.
about is that, like, you don't start with any infrastructure
Yeah.
as humans, which, to be fair, you don't start with any real infrastructure as the aliens,
No,
except
but
you,
it's-
but you
it
do.
seems more logical
Yes.
as the aliens as the invading force
Exactly.
doesn't have anything built on the ground. It seems weird that across all of England, post World War One, but before
No
World
supply
War II,
depots,
Nope.
no bunkers, no
Nothing.
tanks, no. Yeah, no, it's just
And it's really
not an Air Force either. Apparently, you got to build
there
that
are
back
Air
up.
Force cards.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you got to build them up. You
You
don't
gotta
have
build
them.
And it seems like all the alien stuff is really expensive. A lot of 8+ cost
Yep.
cards.
but
But
that's
they have some of the best like cull cost cards
yeah.
in there.
And then once you build a building, then you can always use it. And so a lot of their buildings are get 1 energy a turn, which is their money. Get 2 energy
Like
a
plasma
turn.
generators
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something. Yeah.
So like it is easy for an alien to be like halfway through the game, oh, I get 4 or 5 energy a turn, no matter what cards I have because of those things. And the human can't do anything about it.
And the humans are lucky to get 4 or 5 by then.
They
I've
can
never
usually
even
get
seen that. The humans I've seen max
They
out
have
at like 2 energy
they have,
at a
uh,
time, like
they
2
have
money
2
at a time.
supply depots,
Including
right?
their hand.
Yes, that's true.
Is what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah.
oh, yeah.
The humans can, if they get the right cards, build the supply depots, but then an alien can just come by, destroy it, and
The
then
UFO moves 2 spaces.
Yeah.
Yep.
And doesn't matter where it is or what it's doing because and also a fun fact, the UFO can't be damaged.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
It
can't.
can't even attack the UFO.
Nope.
So the UFO can just fly around and do whatever the hell it wants.
yeah,
There is a human item building, barrage balloons, which
Yep.
means that the aliens cannot enter that space.
No,
with the UFO.
The UFO
UFO
can't.
Yes,
but
with the UFO.
a tripod can come in and just kill
Yeah.
the barrage balloons.
Yep.
Yes.
And
just
then
go with their laser
Yeah.
instead. Yeah.
So your artillery can't even shoot it.
Well,
like,
and
nothing.
and really, what it is for me is that like at least with the army, the army and the navy, once you destroy them, you get another card out. You get another one, like we were saying. For the humans, once you build a building, if its building gets destroyed, it's
gone forever.
It's gone forever.
Yeah.
So you can only have 2 supply depots that you want them early because you want that money, but as soon as they're gone,
They're
then
gone.
you're
Yeah.
you're screwed.
So
Yeah.
hopefully you can get the barrage balloons and a supply depot vaguely close to each other
Yeah.
and to be able to afford them, and also move a civilian south enough to make it
Worthwhile.
reasonable for them to not just march 2 spaces and kill it
Yeah.
with a tripod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, and especially with all the reaps that you get in the beginning, like you could get 4 reaps and then a tripod card, and it can move 4 spaces
Yeah.
and destroy it. But
Because
also
you have hands of 5, just
Yes,
like pretty
exactly.
much most deck builders.
yes, there really isn't anything that lets you do extra drawing in a turn. So it's really
No.
just what you draw at the beginning. But something that this game does that a lot of other deck builders I haven't seen done is it is really aggressive on the culling.
All of the cards the humans start with can all be culled freely.
I mean, all the alien cards too. So
Yeah, there's always an action on it where it's like discard this card to do
Yeah.
a more powerful version of
Yeah.
that card.
yeah, and especially when you're buying cards, those cards are almost always better than whatever you start with. It's very like, especially with the alien, very early on, you're gonna be like, oh, I have these 2 cards that give me 1 energy, but you could get rid of them for 2 energy each, and there is a card for 4 energy that gives me 2 energy, so I can just get rid of both these cards now.
And just turn it into an invulnerable building on the table.
Well, not even just that. I'm talking about just the card that
The other
basically you are
card.
taking 2 cards,
Turning him into one card.
turning them into 1 card.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
It's a
then
no-brainer.
yeah, and the reap gives you 2 money, so a lot of those times you're going to be like, oh, I want to get that building, it just gives me money, so I'm going to get rid of some of these cards.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you don't want to cull too much too early because you could just be like,
You
The
can-
humans can
they
literally
can
have
wipe out their
zero
economy and be fine.
Yes.
money in hand
Yeah.
in deck.
I mean, to be fair, the aliens could also stupidly cull
Yes.
all of their reap and tripod cards and UFO cards, and then they would be
Waiting
to an
Yeah.
extent helpless.
Yeah. As you were mentioning, Reap, which is a very common move card on top of your regular tripod attack card.
Yep.
The humans have 2 cards in their whole system of cards that allow them to move
Army
that
card.
aren't the army or actual battleship cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have 2 cards that let them move and attack.
Because usually you have an army card, you can only play it once per turn, so you can only, even if you have 2 army cards, it has to be for 2
You can only
different
play
army
one
per
unit
unit,
card
that's what
on
I mean,
a
yes.
unit. Yes.
Yes.
And so that means you cannot move it and then attack with it. You have to move it and then attack the next turn if you're lucky. But that gives
But you've already used your
Exactly.
army card, so
Yeah.
it's in your discard.
yes.
So you have to have more than one to be able to even do that without shuffling your deck.
Yeah, and like we said, they only have
They die super quick.
1 damage, so it's
And if
so
you've moved
easy.
on top of a tripod, it's just be like, boop, dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will say,
Otherwise,
There-
you're sitting there waiting for the tripod to come to you,
Yeah.
which it will then just move, boop, dead.
yes. And so more often than not, those cards get used not to do damage, but to be as damage sponges so that the civilians can live a little bit longer.
Yeah. To take one of the damage. So that
And then
when they
maybe you get a gorilla card that
Yes.
lets the civilian damage
I mean, yes. Yeah.
the tripod.
Yeah.
yeah, until you've burned all your gorilla cards and then they're out.
Now, obviously,
I would normally not burn the gorilla cards at all because they were the only way I was regularly getting damage.
Yes. Yeah. And that, I mean, for the Navy, that doesn't apply at all because it's only in the ocean, and it's
And there's only 2 of them.
there's only 2 of them. To be fair, you'll like the tripod can't hurt them.
And the one movement card, the deployment card, lets you move the battleships or the army units, but that's still
Yes.
those are the only ways you can move them and then use its actual unit card to attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with the battleships, like once they're out, like they can in one sea region hit a couple different land regions, which is nice. And the tripod can't hit them, so the
UFO
alien,
has to go out there and then hit it.
Yes.
Which is
But-
still a move and then burn.
I mean,
But-
but that's UFO, and there's less cards that let them move
Yes.
and then attack versus the tripod.
But there's no civilians that start on the coasts in the south.
Yeah.
So you need like 2 entire shuffles of your deck to get the battleship card. Well, more so you buy it and it deploys, then it goes into your discard. You shuffle, you get it back out, it's moved once. You put it back into your discard, you shuffle, you put it back out, and maybe there's going to
Yeah.
be a tripod next to that space.
Yeah. That's
Maybe-
pretty much all you can hope for.
Maybe you've moved a civilian next to the coast that it will has to kill, so it has to come within range of the battleship.
Yep.
I mean, that's really what you do with the battleships.
Exactly.
They're a late game unit, and
Yeah.
they're definitely, you put one somewhere where then you try to get all of your civilians.
Yes.
Well, and realistically,
range
you would
of
want to
it.
bring all your guys down to the dock because when they inevitably destroy the Navy, then it has to appear in that one spot. Because if you have it moved all the way up north
Portsmouth?
for whatever, if they destroy it, then it appears all the way at the bottom again, and then you'd have
Yeah, because it doesn't spawn in any sea spot.
Exactly.
It spawns in the specific
Yep.
Portsmouth
Yep.
sea spot.
basically what I feel this game is. Aliens are all about opportunities. The humans are all about restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's jump over and talk a little bit about the expansion,
Uh-huh.
the Irish Sea.
So it adds a sideboard to the western portion.
Yep, which is Ireland.
The sea spots just connect straight over. There's basically 3 sea ribbons, so it's not that hard to get over there.
Nope.
It has pre-printed defense and income for
So Ireland
humans.
is 3 regions.
Yes.
The North region is pre-printed 1 money.
That as long as you have a civilian unit there and there are no alien units there,
Yep.
you get 1 money a
Yep.
turn, and that can be the turn you actually go onto there too.
Yes. Then the middle section has nothing, and then the bottom section has 1 damage and 1 defense.
Yep.
Yes, and that's at that location.
Yes.
And it adds a bunch of cards.
Yes,
Yeah.
and obviously you need to get your civilians over there, so it gives you ocean liners that let you move.
That start in your deck.
Yep.
You start with 1.
You start with
in
1,
your
and you
deck.
can buy another one, and that will let you put a civilian into the ocean, which makes it harder for the
aliens
alien to kill it.
Yes.
And you technically, from what I can tell, there's nothing against. You could just send as many civilians as you want out. Just
Put
out
them
in
all
this-
on cruise liners
Yeah.
out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
And
that's
then-
what it is.
And then you just have to wait for the UFO to go around and slowly pick them all off.
Yeah.
And then just everyone will be miserable.
But the aliens start with a carrier.
which lets them move their tripods to
Two
spaces,
spaces.
which also can be across the sea. It can also be, I don't know, say over landmines so that the tripods will not activate them.
Yep.
I was thinking about that. I don't think, though, I think we might have been playing that wrong. Because it lets you move 2 spaces. It doesn't say it lets you move over, like, it doesn't let you jump a space.
If that's true, then that would not make logical sense to me.
Yeah.
There's a
because
lot of things that don't make logical sense in this game.
that's true, but I feel the carrier, it would make sense for them to go over the landmines.
Yes.
So
I mean, there's a lot of things that would make sense that don't.
I understand that.
It would also be fairly trivial in a lot of situations
Exactly.
to just
go
jump
in the sea. Yeah.
once, because the carrier does, I think, specify that it can be over water
Yes,
spaces.
as long as you have to drop them off on
they
land.
have to end on a land
Yeah.
space. So
So that's useful for humans to get over there and try and get like the economy spot and also kind of like a last stand.
area. Yeah.
Like if you built the fort over there, you'd get like 2 damage
Well,
and
and I mean-
5 defense.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like the main strategy for humans is you want to spread out as much as possible to make it take the aliens as long as possible to kill you, and that gives you more spaces that are farther away, right?
yeah,
But then it also, in the same expansion, I mean, because it feels like that's supposed to try and help the humans.
oh yeah,
But it also gives the aliens more mobility, which they didn't need,
no,
other than to literally move them to the island,
Yeah.
which makes sense in that way. But then it just sort of screwed up everything else on the mainland.
and it gives them
the
like the
humans-
orbital cannon that does
Yeah.
like 3 damage in any spot or something
Yeah.
Yeah.
stupid.
And they
Which
get a-
is a one-time use, but still, yeah.
Insanely powerful one.
They get a bunch of walls
Yep.
that they can put up.
so that you can't attack their buildings anymore.
Yep.
To
Well,
do your one little damage.
And the reason why that is because the humans get demolition, which are they basically plan a charge that if the alien doesn't kill it by the next turn, it blows up that building.
yeah,
So that's why they're like, oh, well, we gave this thing to help the humans. Well, let's give the
Hey.
aliens a way to negate that.
yeah.
The humans get an anti-aircraft cannon, so you can actually damage the UFO.
If you build it and if the UFO comes near it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
We haven't mentioned artillery. I think you mentioned a little bit. The artillery is extremely useful for the humans, but it is extremely easy to destroy.
yeah, it does
Um,
2 damage in its space and 1 damage to adjacent spaces.
Yes.
And if
So
you
if
do
you
it
can-
right, you can get a couple turns of some solid damage
Yeah.
before the aliens move 3 spaces and destroy it.
The closest I've come to winning, I was able to build it like at the narrow part just
Yeah.
below Scotland, and I was able to hold the. Like,
Well,
I built
you had
it,
a fort.
a fort, and then landmines in the space in
Yeah.
front of it, and we were playing with we weren't playing the expansion, so you didn't have the carrier to jump over the landmines. It was like you'd have to come into the landmines, take 2 damage, and then maybe have enough movement to come all the way there where I could do 2 damage. And so I was able to like vaguely withstand for a little while.
And then you had the supply depot down south too that helped you get extra money.
Yes. So while you were stuck up there dealing with my anti-aircraft or my artillery in my fort, I was able to hold off. And that was the best the humans have ever done in any game I've played. And they still didn't win.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the expansion had some things. It seems like it was like a lot of things seem like, oh, this gives the humans abilities.
And then the aliens have stuff to negate it.
Yeah. And so it didn't really feel like it changed any of the balance of the game.
I almost want to say it somehow made, like, it gave the humans more situational things, but it gave the aliens more universal things.
Yes.
Like the fact that you start with the carrier versus
in your deck.
Yeah.
That'd be a simple fix to like make it one you had to buy. Like a 4 cost, like a relatively inexpensive one, but you got to wait for it to come up in your deck.
And then humans just get the thing that lets you put civilians in water.
Yep. Or one money, Jeff.
One money. Yes.
Yeah, those cruise liners
at the expense of not moving a civilian away.
Yeah, and that's all the movement cards are also tied to money cards.
Yeah. For every like I said, for every human card is about you're having to make the sacrifice of like, well, if I do this, I can't do this. But the aliens are like, oh, I have a card that lets me do this. I have a card that lets me do this.
The aliens are trying to do 2 things. They got the left hand and right hand. They're going punch, punch.
Yeah.
Humans have a bunch of balls that they're trying to juggle and occasionally throw one at the aliens.
Yes, pretty much.
It bounces off.
Yeah. Yep.
On that note, though, I think we've covered pretty much everything in gameplay, and I think people have a vague idea of how these final thoughts are going to go. So let's just jump over to final thoughts and take care of this here. Zach, let's start with you. What are your final thoughts?
This was a game that every time I played it, I got more and more frustrated at it.
Not every time. You said it went up the second time you played it with me when the humans seemed like they had a chance at winning.
Yes, that's true. And then it went down when I realized that was just a lucky draw. And I realized how you got it. And it was because you got the exact cards you needed to build an initial strong defense before I could ramp up and destroy it.
Yep.
A lot of which those cards are unique, and he will never see them again.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you got past my fort and artillery, they were gone.
Yeah. But it's like playing as the aliens was fun because I mean it's fun because you feel like you're building up an engine and you're like, oh sweet, now I'm going around destroying stuff. This is great. But as the humans, you just feel weaker and weaker as the game gets going, and especially near the end when you're just like, there's nothing I can do to stop any of this stuff because you're like, like Jeff was saying, oh, I have these army cards. Let me play it. It comes up. Oh, it's already dead. Or let me play it again. Play another one. Oh, it's dead already. There's nothing I can do. The game felt like for humans was no matter what I do, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And for aliens, it's the sky's the limit. And I can't tell, like, when we were talking about this and talking with some of the people who played it, it definitely came to me. I was like, well, if we try and do some house rules of like the humans start with a little bit more, or the aliens start with a little bit less, or whatever, to where like, would it be more balanced that way? And maybe it will, but I know every time I played as a human, I did not enjoy playing as the human.
Yeah.
And that is frustrating.
Yes.
And even with those house rules, you have to review the game on the game, right? What it actually came with. And I feel like there are ways for humans to win, but I feel like it's not an even split.
No.
And that is ultimately what's disappointing.
Yep. So I'll go next, and I feel a lot the same way. My first play was the one where I was the humans and it was the closest I came to winning.
And which is funny too, because that should be the one that's most stacked against the humans, because it was an experienced alien player and a new human player.
Yes.
And the when we played the very first time, and not knowing what the human cards that are like unique and like burying certain ones, be like, well, I can't afford that. I'm just going to put that on the bottom of the deck. Oh, well, I buried the artillery card that I'm never going to see for the rest of the game.
So the game that I did so good on the stream, and you can go watch it, you can go see how I played. I ended up getting every card in my deck was empty. everything had either been bought and played or was in my market.
Yeah.
Like I had no like main market deck left. And I came, I don't know, 4 or 5 behind. It was close. But and initially in that one, that was my first play. And actually in that one, I was feeling pretty good after that play because it felt like, yes,
it was challenging.
Playing as the humans, it was miserable, but it was the kind of miserable that fit from a thematic perspective.
Yes. No, I mean, yes, that is true. It definitely fits thematically.
Because, yeah, you feel like you're humans and these way technologically advanced aliens that you can't do any damage to are like, and all you're trying to do is just bang them up enough that they'll go the fuck home and like stop bothering Earth. And it felt like you could get close, and it was like, okay, I see, like, because I made mistakes. It was my first time playing, and I'd be like, okay, I could do that different, or I could do that different. Like, maybe if I'd done the artillery one space further back, it would have, lasted just that little bit longer. That would have let me get those extra 4 damage.
Yes.
Or if I had, saved a couple more of my
gorillas,
gorilla cards, like don't burn them for the 2 quite yet. If I'd used them one more round before burning them to get the extra, that would have been the extra 4 points. It felt like there was a path to victory. And then every other play after that was the exact opposite. Like I kept playing as humans, trying to be like, I understand the game. I understand what's going on. Like I want to see humans win. And I still couldn't to the point where I finally, like at game night, taught Paul. He'd never played. He hadn't watched the streams. He didn't know shit about the game. I gave him a half-ass teach and turned him loose as aliens, and he raffle stomped me.
Yep.
It was one of the worst losses I've had as humans yet. And he, like, granted, Paul's a good board gamer, but he didn't know the game. He didn't know the strategy. He was doing dumb things with aliens.
Yeah.
And I had Zach looking over my shoulder, helping me half the time.
Yeah,
like, Zach and I together couldn't beat Paul.
And it was one of the things, like, I was looking at it, and I was like, there's nothing better you could have really done. And, like, at most, stuff would have been lateral moves.
Yeah.
And once again, trade-offs for it, whereas Paul was, like you said, he was definitely making mistakes that he was just like, this card's stupid, and it was the card that let you attack adjacent. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to get rid of that, that's an amazing alien card, but okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't need it.
Nope.
You have a lot of room for error as aliens, but you have absolutely none as humans.
Yeah. And we didn't even mention in gameplay, they attack adjacent.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be on your space.
Yeah. Once you get up to 3 of those poisonous fog cards, shoot, and then you can also
just loud noises.
Yeah, so you can make it to where they can't leave a spot or they can't enter a spot, and so it's all about like on your human's turn. It's like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this.
Yeah. I played as aliens once just to see how. Like most of the time, like I said, I was just trying to get a win as a human. I wanted to see the humans win. I did play one game as the aliens, and Zach's right. It's fun. You feel like a badass.
Yeah.
You raffle stomp some humans.
And you feel that progression that you would want in this style of game.
It feels, there's a progression you're building up to an end game instead of like slowly whittling down until you're just like, all right, fucking kill me.
Yeah.
Like I think I could see it.
No, you can see it on that one because it was literally nothing.
Everyone was there and we wanted to play something else.
Yep.
It was like, I don't feel like I'm done with this game.
Well, especially because at one point, like, the army cards, you have to summon them in non-hostile spots with civilians. So even if like the humans are protected somewhere, but it is a hostile spot, you could have all the army cards in your hand that you wanted, and you couldn't use them.
Yep, can't do anything with them.
Yep.
Just fucking discard them. No. So yeah, I think there's a good game somewhere in here. I don't know like how much time it was spent in development. Or
this was republished from
a
Russian developed.
So they tweaked it. Like I hope so. I hope it wasn't just a straight reprint of this game. Like I feel like there's a good game there somewhere. It needs some tweaks and balances. Let the humans start. Like if you really want to capture that progression and you want to have the aliens feel powerful and ascendant as the humans are descending, let the humans start powerful. Let the aliens feel like, how the fuck am I going to get past these humans? But
very easily.
Humans can be destroyed.
Yeah.
Aliens can't. So aliens start with nothing, but can't be destroyed. Humans start with a lot that's very vulnerable. And then you get a good shift, and humans can still win, and it feels like they're hanging on and barely winning.
Exactly, yeah.
Instead of humans starting with nothing,
trying to build up, and
getting
then
a little bit, and then just getting kicked in the teeth. It's like and it doesn't make sense thematically that, again, post World War I, there's no military buildup. There's no nothing.
No economy, no anything. Yeah.
It feels off. So, and like you said, I'm not a board game designer. I'm not trying to design a board game. I don't want to take the time to fix a different game. Like, I'd rather just go play any one of a dozen games on my shelf that are good games out of the box that I don't need to house rule. So, unfortunately for me, I think I am thoroughly done with War of the Worlds.
Adrian, we're in agreement. I don't know how to feel about that.
I know, right? And Jeff, I don't think you're gonna have a vastly different opinion, but what are your thoughts?
No, you've pretty much covered all of the bases, especially at the end where you're like, man, I could see a good game being in here.
Yeah.
I played more games than both of you of this. I played almost all of them as humans just to see why it wasn't working. And almost all of these games were against new alien players, and I was just not doing anything as humans the whole time. It's just getting pounded on the whole time.
Were you able to get a good initial card draw like Adrian was able to?
Were you ever close?
Yeah.
Yeah, close, but still I did a bunch of damage early, and then it would get destroyed, and then it would just be a slow slog of, well, I'm going to build this supply depot down here. Oh, my UFO moves over and destroys it the next turn. Well, I guess I got one turn out of that supply depot, and they're not cheap. It's like $5 for a supply depot, and the most expensive card's like 7 with the airstrikes, 6 for the battleship. 4...
I mean, airstrike's great if you can get it because it is one of the few that's just
damage
it's just
a turn.
Every time that card comes up, it's a damage.
How you're gonna have to get rid of so many cards, potentially good cards, to get to that 7. That unless you are able to somehow get 2 supply depots and a couple, good
and
money.
Ireland,
exactly, yeah. That it seems so situational to be able to get those.
Yeah, it feels like the humans were forgotten to be developed. They have all these cool buildings and cards and stuff. They're all destructible. So super destructible. Everything lasts a whole round, and that's about it. Which is super disappointing. I don't remember if I said whether or not they forgot to develop the humans into an actual faction in this game.
Yeah.
But it was super disappointing that it wasn't a better game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or better balanced game.
More balanced. Yeah.
I think there's something there, but not as it is.
I mean, the only thing I can think that's easy is get rid of the UFO, throw the UFO card in the deck, and so they don't have as much mobility to start with.
Right.
So you can actually get some of those buildings maybe in the south of England without them being immediately destroyed. But, that would require thinking about this game probably more than it's worth.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Well, that wraps up our final thoughts. There is no listener feedback for this episode. Apparently people are not used to us doing reviews, and so nobody chimed in over on the guild or emails or anything like that. So no listener feedback for this particular review episode. Moving on, there is cost and availability. I've got some cost and availability things for you here. So you can find the base game of War of the Worlds if you want to experience this for yourself for the high 20s to low 30s. Here, looking at boardgameprices.com. The Irish Sea, if you want to get the expansion, is going to run you a little over $10.
Yep.
If you get them there. You can also go to Gray Fox's website, and you can buy the Kickstarter edition for $49.99 shipped.
You can also
plus shipping. Sorry, $49.99 plus shipping.
You can also get the Kickstarter minis and upgrades for just $20.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, if you're paying $30 and then doing those for $20,
depends on if you get a deal.
Yeah. So about $50 to get the all-in version.
Also, all those Kickstarter pieces is why that box was so empty.
Yes.
Yeah. It definitely Jeff's version is full.
Is full. Yeah.
But yeah. That's the different costs there if you are interested in getting this after our review. So yeah, that wraps everything up. If you would like to get a hold of us, there are numerous ways to do so. You can always send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can also find us over on Twitch, where we do multiple streams every week, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. We are all on Twitter, where I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram, both /MileHighGameGuys. We have our website, milehighgameguys.com, where we do all of our episode posts and everything with show notes and links to things like that. Also on the website, we have links to our BGG guild number 2731, where Zach puts up a calendar with our upcoming streams for the Twitch channel we mentioned before, as well as posts like the review post or the banter episode posts and things like that, where you can discuss and leave feedback either before or after the fact that we will address on the show. There's also a link on the website there in all of the episode posts to our Slack channel, where there's like 130-ish awesome people who talk about all kinds of different things. Never enough talking on the weekends. Everybody seems to have a life on the weekends, so I'm stuck at work for 12 hours, and there's not enough chatting going on. It's very frustrating.
No, we just all chat in the not Adrian channel.
God damn it. I knew it.
No Adrians.
Nope.
Somebody made a private not Adrian channel.
It is a coordinated effort.
Yes. And then finally, if you want to support the show, there are two good ways to do so right now. You can subscribe to us over on Twitch, which you can use if you have Amazon Prime. You get a 1 month at a time free Twitch subscription
That you do have to keep renewing.
You just have to keep renewing it. But
It's free money.
It's free money. And we're fans of people having free money that they can't use for anything besides throwing at someone and having them throw it at us.
We like money being thrown at us.
It's like 10 quarters.
Yeah.
10 quarters a month, just right in our
One
face.
roll a quarter. Throw it in a sock. Just beat us with it.
You can also go over to our Patreon account, patreon.com/milehighgameguys. Check out the different pledge levels over there. And you can maybe throw us, slightly less quarters every month if you want to. But those aren't free quarters.
Nope.
Those are quarters that come out of your pocket.
Yep.
So
4 quarters at a time.
Yep. That pretty much wraps everything up. I think we're going to get out of here. You guys got a movie to get to.
Do.
So I have to work in the morning. Otherwise, I'd be coming along. I'll just watch it some other time.
Yes, you will.
But thanks, everybody, for listening. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the show. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.